You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Cloud Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. In modern cloud environments, secure connectivity is a foundational requirement for any service that transmits sensitive data. From application front ends to back-end APIs, cloud systems must negotiate secure communication channels that rely on accepted cryptographic protocols and cipher suites. When those protocols are outdated, unsupported, or misaligned between endpoints, the result is failed connections, service disruption, or non-compliance. This episode focuses on identifying and correcting issues caused by deprecated protocols or mismatched encryption methods. The Cloud Plus certification emphasizes the role of secure transmission protocols and compatible cipher configurations in maintaining cloud integrity. Candidates are expected to troubleshoot common failures involving transport layer security, validate encryption handshake errors, and understand how cloud services enforce or restrict certain protocol versions. Scenarios may include legacy systems failing to connect to modern services, API clients timing out, or compliance scans identifying deprecated encryption. Connection failures caused by protocol mismatches often present with subtle or vague symptoms. Clients may receive timeouts, errors like connection reset by peer, or SSL handshake failures without further context. When inspecting logs, administrators might see references to TLS version incompatibility, unsupported cipher negotiation, or a refusal to communicate at all. These logs, often found in cloud load balancer logs or application logs, provide essential context for beginning the troubleshooting process. TLS and SSL have evolved significantly, and most modern platforms now reject SSL entirely and restrict older TLS versions. TLS 1.2 is widely accepted as the baseline, with TLS 1.3 being preferred for newer deployments. TLS 1.0 and TLS 1.1 are deprecated across most cloud platforms, including major API gateways, web frontends, and management consoles. Candidates must know which versions are current and how to ensure that both clients and services support the necessary encryption standard. Cipher mismatches occur when clients and servers fail to agree on a mutual algorithm for encrypting communication. This failure can prevent authentication, halt transmission, or introduce encryption weaknesses if defaults are insecure. Troubleshooting cipher mismatches involves checking which ciphers were offered and rejected during the handshake. Server logs or diagnostic tools can display these details and help pinpoint which part of the exchange failed and why. Command line tools are essential for protocol inspection and troubleshooting. Utilities such as OpenSSL, Nmap, and tests sl.sh allow administrators to probe endpoints and determine supported protocol versions and available ciphers. These tools can emulate handshake attempts, verify server responses, and flag deprecated or insecure settings. Knowing how to use these tools is a core skill for verifying endpoint readiness and ensuring secure configurations. Encryption settings are often defined at the application or service level. Web servers like Apache NGINX or Microsoft IIS have explicit TLS configuration blocks that control which protocol versions and ciphers are allowed. Load balancers and reverse proxies also offer TLS configuration, and in cloud environments, this is typically done via the platform console or CLI. Troubleshooting begins by checking whether the application itself is allowing only secure, supported protocols. Operating systems and runtime libraries play an often overlooked role in protocol support. If the OS version lacks updates to its cryptographic libraries, such as OpenSSL, Java JDK, or .NET libraries, it may not support modern ciphers, even if the application intends to use them. Troubleshooting requires checking library versions, patch history, and documentation to ensure full compatibility. Teams may need to update the OS, runtime, or language bindings to resolve these issues. Insecure or deprecated protocols like SSL, FTP, and Telnet are often still found in legacy or misconfigured systems. Network scans, firewall logs, or traffic captures can help identify when these protocols are in use. Administrators must replace such services with secure alternatives like SFTP for FTP or HTTPS for HTTP and disable legacy listeners. Replacing insecure services not only improves security posture, but also eliminates protocol negotiation errors in modern clients. Cloud load balancers often terminate TLS sessions and enforce protocol compatibility policies. For example, AWS application load balancers allow administrators to select the minimum TLS version, and Azure Front Door applies strict rules on Cipher usage. If these settings are too restrictive or not aligned with back-end services, they can interrupt application traffic. Troubleshooting requires checking where TLS termination occurs and ensuring consistency between front-end and back-end expectations. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. When facing repeated connection issues, it's critical to determine whether the client's software is the source of the problem. Older applications, outdated browsers, or embedded systems may rely on deprecated protocols or cipher suites that modern cloud services no longer accept. If the client is hard-coded to use insecure versions of SSL or TLS, no amount of server-side tuning will resolve the failure. In such cases, updating the client's software, upgrading the SDK, or completely replacing the component may be required to restore secure compatibility. Administrators can enforce secure protocol policies across multiple layers of the stack. These policies dictate the minimum encryption standards that must be used when establishing connections. Enforcement can happen at the application level, within container security policies, or through infrastructure templates like AWS Service Control Policies or Azure Blueprints. These templates ensure that no services are deployed using outdated cryptographic configurations. Cloud Plus candidates should understand how to implement such restrictions using native policy tools. Downgrade attacks are a major security concern in protocol negotiation. In this scenario, an attacker attempts to force a connection to fall back to a less secure version of TLS or a weaker cipher suite. To defend against this, administrators must disable protocol fallback logic and enforce strict minimum standards on both the client and server side. This includes disabling older protocol versions entirely and rejecting any negotiation attempts that try to force compatibility with deprecated methods. Mobile apps and IoT devices introduce additional challenges. These clients may not support newer protocols due to limited processing power, outdated firmware, or legacy codebases. Troubleshooting involves capturing the handshake traffic from these devices, identifying the protocol version and cipher used, and determining whether updates are available. In some cases, devices will require firmware patches or may need to be isolated from production systems if they cannot be brought into compliance. Standardizing and documenting approved protocol and cipher configurations is essential for long-term stability. Teams should maintain a list of accepted TLS versions and cipher suites that are permitted across their environment. This document should be reviewed during every security audit and change review. It provides developers and administrators with a clear set of rules to follow, which reduces errors and ensures consistency across services, APIs, and client applications. In cloud platforms, TLS settings must be checked at every point where encryption is configured. AWS Elastic Load Balancers, Azure Front Door, and GCP HTTPS load balancers all offer specific configuration panels for protocol version enforcement and cipher preference. Troubleshooting failed connections involves validating that settings across these services align with back-end targets and that any certificate binding and termination logic is properly implemented and documented. Continuous monitoring of protocol usage is required to detect anomalies. CIEM platforms and cloud-native security tools can be configured to log TLS versions, cipher selections, and failed negotiation attempts. Alerts should be triggered when deprecated protocols are attempted or when unexpected handshake patterns are detected. This monitoring is especially critical in high-compliance environments where unauthorized encryption methods must be immediately flagged and investigated. Logging plays a central role in visibility and auditability. Proper log configuration ensures that all handshake attempts, including failed negotiations, are recorded. These logs should be retained in accordance with organizational and regulatory requirements. Details such as protocol version, cipher suite used, certificate presented, and client IP should be included to support forensic analysis, compliance validation, and troubleshooting review cycles. Ultimately, secure protocol troubleshooting requires technical awareness of encryption standards, familiarity with client-server behavior, and visibility into policy enforcement tools. Cloud Plus candidates must be able to interpret error messages, test endpoints, validate protocol compatibility, and ensure that all systems adhere to modern encryption expectations. With constant evolution in both attack techniques and cryptographic best practices, maintaining protocol hygiene is a continuous and non-negotiable part of cloud operations. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.